something I've been resisting over the last few years. I've shot quite a few guns with red dot sights on them, pistols and ARs, but I've resisted getting them on my own. I've just dealt with my aging eyesight and my difficulty getting a sight picture till finally I decided, hey, might as well give it a shot. So what I've done is I ordered and bought a Vortex Venom Red Dot sight for my Glock 23. I'm going to put that on there. I'm going to use it here. I'm intending to use this. If it works out, I'll use it on my carry gun. But this is my Vortex Venom. This is what comes in the box right here. Again, I'm hoping that you can see this okay. That's not being blurred on camera. The red dot sight itself is right here. It's a Vortex Venom. It's a very well-known sight now. It's a popular sight. Comes in at a good price point, but it's a good, durable, solid red dot sight. It's well-known and widely used now. What I got was, in the box, it comes with quite a few things. It comes with some tools to adjust it. It comes with some tools to mount it with, to a gun that has a plate with it. But what I've got, I didn't have an MOA ready pistol. This gun is not milled for a red dot sight. I did not buy a gun with a slide that's with a milled slide and base plate on it for a red dot sight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, again, this is a widely used product right here. This is an outer impact red dot sight adapter. And what this does is it takes up the rear sight dovetail on your firearm. Now you can get these. I got both of these. Through Amazon.com, with Vortex being the seller here, Outer Impact being the seller on Amazon there. And as always, customer service was great. Got these on time. Everything was in good condition. Got what I was supposed to get. So I've got a link down at the bottom of the video here. If you decide to get either one of these items or something else from Amazon related to your firearms, if you click in through my link down here, I'd appreciate it. That is an affiliate link. It's not there because I'm an affiliate. It's there because I actually use Amazon and I actually use these products. But they have an affiliate program, so I use it. It'd be silly not to, and it helps me support the Christian Gun Owner website and all this video stuff that I do. So links are down there, but the Outer Impact adapter takes up the rear sight dovetail on the gun. It's got a dovetail insert. The adapter goes on top of that. The mount goes on top of that. Again, I'm not going to be doing it here on camera. That's too tedious for me to do on camera. It's too tedious for you to watch, and you can go anywhere and watch this done. Outer Impact has videos on their website where you can go on there and watch step by step them mounting red dot sights with their adapters on different kinds of pistols. You can get these for just about every major brand of pistol that there is out there, and you can get them that have holes in them and ready to mount just about every major red dot sight known. So that's what I'm about to do. I'm going to put this on here. When I get it done, which will be to you, will be just as soon as this part of the video ends, then I'll show you the Glock with the sight mounted on it, and then we'll go out to the range and you'll see a range session with this, all in this video right here. So bear with me just a minute, and I'll get this thing put together, show you the gun with the sight on it, and then we'll go out to the range and see a range session and see how it does, see how I can pick it up. One thing about this sight before I get started, I just want to tell you about it right now. And I think there's some other companies that have done this, but so what happens if it's an electronic device? It might not work at some point. Something happens. What if you don't have the red dot? What do you do for a rear sight? Well, you are going to have to improvise, but Vortex has now marked a slot with two little white dots in there. Hopefully, again, you can see that. If not, I'll show it out on the range again. But two little slots right there, to where if you lose your dot, you can improvise by putting your front sight even with the top of that little slot right there, and that will improvise for your iron sights. So that's a good feature on the Vortex Venom sight here. So anyway, here we go. I'm going to put it together, show it to you, and we'll go out to range to see how it works. You see, now for you that was only a few seconds. For me, it was about an hour and a half. Went in and got the red dot sight mounted. It is nice and solid. Has a good mount. Tested the sight for the dot and all that. I went into my gun room, put the slide in a vise, took out the existing iron sight, and put in the dovetail adapter, which is just a little piece that goes in the dovetail with holes in it, some pegs. And when I got that in, I went to my computer and went to the Outer Impact website. That's the people that make this plate that goes down on your gun to accommodate the sight. I went to their website and using a chart there, figured out where the sight goes, where some pins under it goes, where the mounting holes go on this particular sight. The plate itself will hold, I don't know, maybe 10 or 12 different popular red dot sights. But anyway, had to figure it out for this one, and that took a while, and it took a while to get everything in place. And it is important to have a torque driver, a torque screwdriver to put the screws in. They do recommend a particular torque, both to put the plate on and then to put the sight on, and it's important that that gets done. So you'll want to use a torque driver when you get ready to put this together. You'll want to use a torque driver on it. But anyway, the sight is on. The red dot is working. It's been a while ago, just practicing bringing it up and seeing the sight through it. That takes some practice. So the next process in all of this is a range test. And for you, again, that'll only be a few seconds. For me, it's going to take a while. So I'll see you at the range in just a few seconds. Well, I made it out to the range, and sight's ready to go here. What I'm going to be using, first of all, just for one magazine, I'm going to fire without the red dot turned on. I'm going to be firing using this notch, this painted notch in the back of the Vortex Venom, lining it up with my front sight on my Glock here, just to make sure I can pick up the sight and see where it lands down here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot just to the center of a silhouette over here, and just use the front iron sight and this back notch on this sight. We'll see how that works. In gun videos, a lot of people find narratives like this irritating and boring, but in considering that there are a lot of people that will come to a video like this looking to trying to decide whether they're going to mount a sight like this and how they're going to mount it, if you're looking at the possibility of mounting a sight like this on a plate, it will pay off in dividends for you to watch these narratives, to watch the video all the way through, and to pay attention to the adjustments I had to make on the range. And though that's a long time online to look at something, it'll save you tons of time and ammo on the range doing things that I had to do just by trial and error when you could be just adjusting your sight with it. So if you'll pay attention to it, I promise it'll pay off. What I was trying to do here was, before I ever started using the red dot, was to see if I could line up this rear notch on the sight with my front sight and make a decent shot, at least in an area, tactical shooting. Found out that I could not. What you just saw there was me shooting at the center of that big silhouette and hitting it at the top of the head. I've combined some of these clips. This turned into a 2-day range session because of all the things that I had to work out with the sight. And so I'm combining the clips between day 1 and day 2 so you can see what I had to do. You can see the frustration, you can see where things were off, and you'll see how it had to be adjusted. So I'm combining these. I'm going to carry on with this, trying to figure out how to use the gun now without the red dot working. And I continued to try that until I got it on day 1 and day 2 both. It took 2 days to work that out. But I'm going to show you all the clips at once. So watch and you'll see how I worked out how to find the target without the red dot working. Well, you can see that was with me aiming at the center of the silhouette. Most of the shots hit in the head, and when I really lowered it, it dropped down across the top neck, shoulder area. So that's something I'm going to have to work on. So the answer ended up being that with this sight, with it mounted on the plate, which rides on top of the slide as opposed to down in the groove on a red dot or an optics ready slide, it raises this back sight up way further than it would be for a regular sight in the dovetail back here, which meant that every time that I lined up this front sight with the back sight here, it was shooting over a foot high. What I did about that was made the front sight disappear. What I put on target was this slot, this little painted slot in the back of it. I put that just under what I was shooting for, made the front sight disappear, and fired from that position. And that put it in a nice tactical area that I was looking for. Very, very important. Before you get that red dot working on your gun, make sure you can find out where to shoot in case that electronic device doesn't work. Let's go on with the rest of it, and you'll see how I got the sight dialed in, how it worked, what it took. We'll be shooting at that same silhouette since I didn't make any holes in the center of it with the with the notch in the rear in that in the sight. I'm going to go ahead and shoot at the center of it with the red dot. This will be the first time with the red dot on. You're seeing it as I see it, and I'll make adjustments as I need to. Here we go. Still low. I raised it up a little bit. Still low.
I love the way it's grouping. Okay, groups are great. That's not from pulling left with my finger though.
For some of you more experienced gunners watching the moving video there a minute ago when I was at the table with my hand propped up on a bag and getting the sight dialed in, and you see me shooting from the side there, if you were really observant, you probably noticed that I was closing one eye when I was shooting. My vision forces me to close one eye when I shoot my handguns with the steel sights on them. Otherwise I get blurred or multiple views of sights that are not there if I don't under certain lighting conditions. So I have a tendency to close one eye whenever I'm doing any slow, real precise shooting, which is what I was trying to do here. But that's a habit I'm going to have to break with the red dot. I'm looking into a camera right now, and there's a red dot up in the corner of the flip screen, and I can see it perfectly. It looks like the dot on my sight, and I can see it with both eyes open. It's not blurred, it's not doubled. I can see it, and I can see it perfectly. And it's a habit. It's not beneficial to close one eye when you're trying to find that red dot, put it on the target. So closing one eye is something I'm going to have to learn to habitually transition to, from the steel sights that I'll still use on some guns to opening both eyes when I bring that red dot up and get it on target. The whole point of it is that you can see it better, you can see it well, it's bright. You're only looking for one object. You can keep both eyes open, get it right on the target, and shoot faster, hopefully more accurately. I'm going to leave one eye closed for my steel sights, keep them both open for the red dot.
It appears that I've got the sight dialed in at this point. I think it's just practice. At this point, I think it's on me. It's going to be practice, maybe a little bit more adjustment with it, but it seems to be, it groups very tightly. And in that last target, it's scattered around it a little bit there. So I think it's good there. I'm going to practice a little bit and then shoot a little bit of steel and see what happens.
Well, after all the time that I spent in the first video there, you see me trying to find the iron sight and figure out how to hit something without the red dot on, and then getting the red dot on and spending a long time with my hand propped up on a bag, making minute adjustments, trying to get that red dot dialed right into where I'm hitting the target in the area that I need it to hit in. And after doing all that work and making those minute adjustments and doing that precision stuff, watch me stand up here and get real cocky and think I'm going to shoot steel just like I do with my steel sights, and the humiliation that follows, and then how I correct the problem.
For those of you who are experienced and you observe shooters and what they're doing, and you see some things in them that are errors sometimes, you would have probably seen in me an error if you shot with me a lot. Knowing that generally what you just saw up here, I'd be shooting with open sights, iron sights, and I'd be hitting those targets a whole lot more than I did just now. What I did was, after spending a half hour just adjusting in, making fine adjustments to this sight, I jump up and I start shooting it like I did with iron sights. Didn't work out very well. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to slow down. I'm going to aim with this red dot, see if I can do a little bit better here. See what I mean? It's fun to observe shooters when you see them doing things that are just really different than what they would normally do. Anybody, no matter how much you do it, when you go to doing something different, you got to pay attention to what you just did, which was sit here and make fine adjustments with this sight. Slowed down just now. I missed one, but the other, I think 29, hit the targets.
I told you this was a 2-day range session, and it was. I spent almost as much time the second day as I did the first. Not quite as much, but I did a good deal more just shooting. But the first thing I did that second day was to sit down at a bench. I had some 5.5-inch targets out at 45 feet and put my hand up on a bag and shot 6 rounds just at the lower right-hand target. You can see it here to my side, and that was the result I got. At that point, I knew I didn't need to sit and make adjustments at the sight. Anything that's not dead on is just my trigger pull and my hand movement. So before my hand got all fatigued and everything, I wanted to do that, and that helped me decide there's no more adjustment needed. I just need to get up and practice. So I did some shooting with the red dot sight on my Glock 23. Here we go.
Seriously. Just talking to you here right quick. The site, I'll have the article on the site, on the Christian Gun Owner website. The link to it is down at the bottom of the YouTube video, and you'll be able to see pictures and more explanation of how each thing works on this, rather than just trying to show it to you on video and get my hands just right. It'll be on the Christian Gun Owner website, and it'll be you'll get some pictures and details there that you might not get from the video. So I'm encouraged by the sight. I like the way you can pick up the dot even on a bright sunny day, and a lot more to come about the Vortex Venom Red Dot sight that I will be practicing with and will no doubt be carrying. Thanks for watching. Click on the links below. Come along over to the Christian Gun Owner website and read the article about the Vortex Venom. So where does this red dot sight fall in with me as far as what I'm going to do with it? Range work, carry, all of that. Well, I can see it being part of my carry arsenal, considering my eyesight and the fact that I want to be able to quickly acquire a target, but also want to be able to be practiced with it enough to be able to line that thing up in the special way that I have to in case the dot doesn't work for some reason. So that's going to take a good deal more practice. How much should you practice with something like this? The reality is I could sit here and tell you all day long what you should do, but that has to fall within the bounds of reality for anybody who's going to use a gun under any conditions, and particularly when they move into something like going from steel to a red dot sight. Be responsible with your firearms, with any gear that you get. Make sure that that's your priority, and it should work out for you, provided that you practice. I'm Mark Rogers, and I'll see you again real soon.